Okay, so for those of you that didn't see the previous video, we unlocked this 2025 Bosch MD1CS003 using the Flex tool with the Boot Glitch protocol, which requires removing a resistor off this board, carrying out the glitch through a glitch pin on the board, refitting the resistor, and then it's benchable. The same as a pre-June 2020 ECU is benchable. Now, the question that we keep getting asked following that video is, if it's glitch unlocked with Flex, can a AutoTuner or a Kess3 or any other tool for that matter then read and write that in bench? Specifically, if somebody with a Flex unlocked it for you and you only had a Kess or an AutoTuner, could you then read and write the vehicle? And that is what we're going to find out today. Okay, so I'm just popping the lid back on this MD1CS003 as it's glitch unlocked now. It doesn't need to be off anymore. And I have the AutoTuner, as you can see from the interface there, plugged into this computer. So I'm going to pin this out using the normal bench connection as if this was a pre-June 2020 ECU. And we will see what AutoTuner says. If this would normally be plugged into AutoTuner as a 2025 ECU, it's going to identify the ECU, but then it will normally say, you know, this needs sending in for mail-in unlock, and then you have to post it away to AutoTuner. So let's see what it says now it's being glitched with Flex. So let's have a look for Peugeot, if I can spell, MD1CS003. Obviously, it doesn't matter what vehicle we pick in this list. It doesn't matter what this was from. The vehicle list is only guiding you to a correct ECU anyway. At the end of the day, this isn't a Peugeot or a Citroen or anything else. It's an ECU on a table. So, bench or bench after mail-in unlock. I'm just going to go with normal bench for now, but then we will visit this one if this one doesn't work, just for completeness. So, click bench, click instructions. It's going to ask me to use this normal breakout cable, which is the one with the black plug, not the one with the orange plug, which is for EDC16, whereas the black one covers most other things. And then we've got a pinout that essentially looks the same as the Flex pinout, but obviously without the boot glitch pin. So let's stick the breakout lead on here. This loom is slightly annoying. It tangles back in itself. It's one thing I do like about Flex. You've got quite large individual wires, and only the ones you're using are present because you put them into the sort of pin adapters there, whereas this doubles back on itself and everything is always there all of the time, which does open the scope for loose wires arcing out on the case, so you have to be a little bit careful with it compared to using Flex. So put an ignition there, we've got the main power on there. We will put the yellow can line there. The green, where's the green one gone? And then we just need a ground somewhere up there next to the power. So that is suitably pinned out, as it should be for a pre-June 2020 ECU on AutoTuner. We just need a power adapter for the tool now. Plug that on there. Plug that in there. We can see now we've got 13 volts showing in the bottom corner of the tool. So let's click identify. Okay, so this still says that it requires a mail-in unlock, yet we know that this is unlocked by Flex and we could bench it. Let's go to the protocol for after a mail-in unlock, because maybe it doesn't check something that this one checks, and we'll do an identify again. No. So, glitch unlocked with Flex. We know it reads and writes with Flex because we've done it in bench mode, but AutoTuner still wholeheartedly believes that this is needing to be unlocked with mail-in unlock, so that's an interesting one. So next we will go for Kess3 and see if it does any better. Okay, so here we go again. I've now got Kess3 plugged into the computer. We'll give it some power as well. And we will wire the same glitch unlocked ECU up to Kess3 and see how that does. Now, the wiring on Kess3 is slightly different in that you get this cable that plugs in to the front that has all of the different connections on it, and then they're all labelled. And then you use bullets. It does keep the loose ones away from the ECU though, so I do still think it's better. It's not flex, but it's better. So we will yet again say MD1CS003. Continue. The only method of connection is bench, so we'll click that, and then we will click to see the manual. That's a bit small. Let's give a bit of a zoom in. And let's wire this up the same. There is a power. These pinouts are going to be the same between the tools. So let's stick a power in that one and stick power there. We will get a ground and a ground. So you just push the bullets together there. And then you've got similar sort of pins to the AutoTuner loom. Get an ignition, which goes to power. And that one goes there. I've pinned the ECU out enough times now that I've kind of remembered exactly where everything goes. But it's always good to check. Never try and do a pin out from memory. That's how you run into issues and blown up ECUs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a can line. All these tools have different colours for the can lines, and it confuses me. So can high on Kess is a white one, which goes 2 along from that ignition feed. And then it does also give us an extra ground here, but we haven't had to use that on this ECU on flex, so it's clearly not one that needs it, which is Kess's alternate pin out. So we're just going to go with the alternate pin out first. See what it does. Click continue. No, we don't want to see the manual because we just did. Opening the protocol. Power's in. USB's in. We can see the tool. So identify ECU. Let's see what it says. Unrecognized ECU. ECU protected. Impossible to proceed with operations. Just for completeness, let's add in that second ground. I don't see it making any difference whatsoever because it can clearly talk to the ECU. But for those people in the comments that are going to say you left a wire off, let's use the additional grounds that Alien Tech say to use. Let's click identify ECU again. No, still protected. So Kess and AutoTuner at least are not able to realise that this has been unlocked by Flex. So that is something to bear in mind. So the takeaway there really is if somebody unlocks this sort of ECU for you, at least MD1CS003 with the boot glitch mode in Flex, and you only have another tuning tool, at least AutoTuner or Kess, then you're still not going to be able to read and write this. If you have a Flex, but you're not comfortable doing this, or you only have the OBD and bench protocols and don't want to upgrade, then they can glitch this unlocked for you, and the normal bench protocol will be available for you in Flex, and that will work. We've had that confirmed by Magic Motorsport, which is why we're now offering a service where we'll glitch unlock them with Flex and then send them back to an installer that only has OBD and bench, and then they'll be able to read and write them and do whatever tuning they want, use the file service, etc. But something to bear in mind if you're sending an ECU for somebody to glitch and you don't have a Flex, you, at least with these two tools that I have to hand to check here in the office, it's not something that's then just going to work.